I've made dozens of videos about underrated teams, so I thought it was about time I made one about some of the most underrated leagues that you might have missed in career mode. We all know how fun La Liga and the Premier League can be, but I bet you've never tried at least one of the leagues in this list. Okay, so let's start off with a personal favourite of mine. Poland legitimately has some of the most interesting football clubs in the game. They might not have scanned faces, real stadiums or world-class players, but this league is pure fun. I don't know if it's the lower rated teams, the amount of quality Polish players you can bring back, or the opportunity for realistic transfers from Germany, Ukraine and Scandinavia, but I really do love playing in Poland. Sure, the teams are mostly the same low rating, but this isn't necessarily a bad thing. You can just pick a team with kits and a history that you like, and you'll be fighting for the title pretty much straight away. You can say the same thing about playing in Norway, Romania or Sweden, but Poland just feels a little bit different. I used to play with the goal of bringing Lewandowski back to Poland, and I'm such a big fan of his that I'm actually giving away a signed shirt over on Instagram right now, and you can enter by clicking the link in the description. Anyway, I feel like Poland has the potential to be the same quality as Portugal, and we can rebuild the entire nation in FC25. You can choose to build the Liga with loads of Polish players, you can choose to expand throughout Eastern Europe and bring in Lithuanian, Estonian, Czech and Slovakians, or you can bring in South Americans like some teams in Poland do really like to do. There's so many different directions you can go with an extra Klasa save, and all of them are underrated by almost everyone. I mentioned Norway, Romania and Sweden just then, but you could also group Belgium into that list too. They're slightly better than those leagues, but even though they've had a golden generation for the past 10 years, lots of people have never given the Belgian league a go. I'm sure you have a favourite player from Belgium, whether it's Lukaku, one of the Hazard brothers or Kevin De Bruyne, but so many people prefer to play in the Netherlands. Belgium actually has a unique structure that splits in half, a championship group and a relegation group after the season ends. Belgium is the only league in Europe that does this and is also on FIFA, and it does make the last few games of the year have way more impact. It is kind of annoying that the second division isn't in the game, because they actually, in real life, also take part in this split. So, in real life it works like this. The top 6 teams enter the playoffs with all the points they've already gained halved. The top 6 all play each other twice, and the top 2 get Champions League, 3rd place gets Europa League, and last 2 teams get nothing. The team in 4th place then also plays against the winner of the European playoff round or the relegation group. This European playoff round actually includes 3 teams from the 2nd division, but annoyingly, they aren't in FC25. Still, Belgium is super underrated and also one of the most unique structures on the entire game. There's a ton of history in the teams, there's a lot of good players you can sign, and Belgium is definitely worth giving a go. If you've been subscribed for more than a year though, you'll know how much I love the MLS. If you're bored of playing in Europe, even in somewhere like Belgium, a trip to North America can make things feel totally new. The league has dozens of unique features, and we can recreate almost all of them inside career mode, even if they're not officially part of the mode. I've actually made videos about the MLS every year since FIFA 21, so check out one of those if you're interested in hearing me talk for ages about how cool this league is. The MLS has also been around long enough for some teams to have some history now, so you can recreate the LA Galaxy dominance from the early 2010s, the DC United period from the early 2000s, or even try and recreate that New York City FC super team from 2016. The MLS is also the only league that you don't win by finishing first. Instead, you qualify for a knockout tournament to find the winner. You can finish 8th, 20 points behind first place, but still somehow win the MLS. It adds a load of drama to the end of the season, and it's hard to explain how fun the playoffs are without trying it yourself. While I do love playing in the MLS, I also love playing in Scandinavia, and all 3 of their leagues are hidden gems, but Norway is my favourite at the moment. Just like Poland and Belgium, Norway has a bit of a golden generation, and you can see this throughout their league. For the first time in as long as I can remember, the Norwegian league is the highest ranked in Scandinavia, and it's not far off overtaking Turkey to be the 10th best league in the world. While the league is still improving, no team from Norway has ever got past the quarterfinals in any European competition. The best result they've ever had was Rosenborg losing to Chelsea in the Champions League about 30 years ago, and I actually think Rosenborg would probably be the most fun save this year. They used to be the dominant force in the country, but now they're the 6th best team on FC25. If you want a slightly harder save, why don't you check out Tromsø, who are the most northern team on FC25. They're also the lowest rated team in Norway, and even have the Northern Lights on their away kit. My last recommendation is going to be Fredrikstad FK. They're another really fun team to use. They have 9 titles, meaning only Rosenborg has more, and they were promoted back to the top division this year. They were the first team in Norway to exist only to play football, and now there's so many options that you can take over in the country. You should seriously give this league a go, because the players, teams and league's potential are all really underrated by anyone not from Norway. If you take over the Norway national team, you might be eager to play against Brazil, a team that Norway has never lost against in the 4 matches they've played. But on FIFA, the lack of Brazil is really annoying for career mode. But it's fine because we have Argentina, which is the second best league in South America. It's actually the only league from South America in FC25, and I think that puts off a lot of people from using it. I know it's not the best solution, but it's also kind of hidden that teams from Brazil and every other country in South America are actually part of the Libertadores and Sudamericana in career mode and kickoff. It's not like the MLS where you're literally the only teams from your continent. If we do look through a list of teams from Argentina though, you'll recognise way more clubs than you thought you would. There are champions, there are teams that have been regarded as the best in the entire world at one point, there's teams that have produced Ballon d'Or winners, and teams that have broken world transfer records. Last time I spoke about teams that I enjoy using in Argentina, I was actually flamed pretty hard in the comments, but I still think Racing Club and San Lorenzo are the best 2 teams to choose. Both teams have really good academies, really good squads to start off with, really good histories, and also you have the opportunity to try and overtake Boca and River Plate to become the best club on the continent. While it's quite hard to become the best club in South America, it's pretty easy to become the best club in Australasia, and I think the Australian League is one of career mode's hidden gems. Not only is it one of the best starting points for a Pentagon challenge, but it's also by far the most difficult league to win a continental championship from. The entire league is designed to be equal. All the teams' ratings, all their budgets and all their objectives are pretty much exactly the same. This is probably because football isn't a major sport in Australia. They prefer to watch cricket and Aussie rules and they both have more support than football, but that's even more reason for you to try and conquer Asia with one of the 11 teams from the A-League. So, while the league is dependent on trying to keep parity, the rules are actually kind of bizarre. You're allowed 5 foreigners in your squad, and it takes 5 years for them to count as Australian. You might think that's pretty standard, until you realise you're not allowed to sign Australian players from any other club in Australia. You'll have to rely on your youth academy, players that are playing in England and Germany, and maybe a few players from New Zealand if you can find them. It really is an underrated league, and all 11 of the teams, including the new Auckland FC, are super fun to use. So, I love Australia, but have I been saving the best for last? Well, possibly, because I've not done too many saves in Scotland, but every time I've tried it, I've absolutely loved it. You have the 2 giants, Rangers and Celtic, then there's a big gap to the likes of Hibs, Hearts and Aberdeen, but any of these 5 teams can be fun. However, I really recommend you have a look a bit lower down and try and overtake Rangers or Celtic as one of the worst teams in the league. If you're not feeling that, I really recommend Hearts this year. They have their best squad for ages, and for the first time in years, there is legitimately a 3rd team that has a chance of winning the league. Their squad is full of players you might have seen playing in the English Championship, like George Grant, Barry Mackay, and also it has Scottish international Lawrence Shankland, who has one of the most crazy goal records any player's ever had in Scotland. It's a league that has real stadiums now, players you've heard of, and also access to the Champions League. It's a league that people might look down on from Europe because of Celtic's dominance, but that also makes it one of the most challenging leagues in the game. With Celtic and Rangers both having stadiums on FC25, this is by far the best time to ever play in Scotland, and I seriously recommend that you give it a go. If there's a league out there that you think that I've missed, that you think's super interesting and people should give a go, then do leave that in the comments below. If I see a really good submission, I'll pin it and everyone can have a read of whatever you think. But thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. Subscribe if you want to help out the channel, and I'll see you soon. Cheers and goodbye.